Erik Karlsson has captured his third Norris, capping off a renaissance season from the blue liner.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now and Inside the Rink. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, proudly a part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you got to do is follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can subscribe on YouTube as well. And he's done it. The Erik Karlsson propagandists like myself celebrate tonight as Karlsson has captured his third Norris, becoming the second Sharks defenseman in team history to win the Norris. He's the sixth defenseman in NHL history to score 101 points. It's a great night for us, Erik Karlsson defenders, longtime defenders, to have this moment that this kind of, yes, this is why you traded for Erik Karlsson. So before we get into Erik Karlsson's night, talk about Erik Karlsson's future, and I have the entire press conference he gave after he won the Norris. So we have all that coming on today's episode. But before we get into that, do want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you guys by Gametime. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. So our Swedish king, King Carl, won the Norris tonight. And honestly, I would have, this episode, if he did not win the Norris, would have been absolutely fire, because I would have ranted for 30 minutes straight type of thing. But Erik Karlsson more than deserving to win the Norris, like 100 points. And I know, don't talk to me about he's not the best defenseman. Like, his job is to help his team the best he can, and he does that by providing offense. And the best way to keep from, I've said this before, this is my whole defenses for nerds theme, is the best way to keep from the other team's scoring is to just keep the puck out of their zone and keep the puck out of your defensive zone. And Erik Karlsson does that. He keeps the puck. He helps score by keeping the puck in the offensive zone. So Karlsson had 1,585 total points, 123 first place votes. Adam Fox was second with 41 first place votes. And then Cale Makar had 12. Karlsson also had 33 second place votes, 16 third place votes, 12 fourth place votes, and 8 fifth place votes. Come on, bro. Who is voting Erik Karlsson 8th place for the Norris? I just want to have a conversation with you. You're very much a play defense type of guy. But I think just goes to show just how special of a season Erik Karlsson did have this year you'll hear in the interview of, although the team didn't find success, a lot of players did have kind of personal success, and they, just the joy that Karlsson got to play with again, which we haven't seen from him in a long time in San Jose. And that translated so well to his on ice, production. And I think for him, he's mentioned a lot this season, and he mentioned it again tonight, was being healthy for the first time in a long time. And, taking care of his body and doing that type of stuff to make sure that he could be there. And I think, we saw this especially at the beginning of the season, where David Quinn was giving him a lot of rest days, on veteran rest days, to make sure that he would be there when the games, started, and be 100%, not trying to kind of play through a nagging injury or dealing with something, and, making sure that he rested. In the Sharks coaching staff and training staff and everybody involved made sure that he was, the best possible that he could be. And he showed that tonight. And tonight was the culmination of this season for the Sharks. And, and plenty of people are going to say, well, where was he the last 4 years? Well, there's a lot of factors that went into what we saw. One, not being healthy. Two, kind of having to play second fiddle to Brent Burns. And guess what? Erik Karlsson just put up one of the best seasons we've seen in, modern NHL history for a defenseman. 101 points. Again, we haven't seen a defenseman score 100 points since Brian Leetch did it in 91, 92. I don't know where you were, but I was 6 or 7 years old at the time when Brian Leetch, I would have been 6 turning 7 when Brian Leetch did it. I'm sure a lot of my listeners, a lot of you guys probably weren't even born the last time a defenseman scored 101 points. And to do it on this poo-poo platter of a Sharks team, I think it honestly makes it harder. I mean, they set a stat during the red carpet where he, I think he contributed on 43% of the Sharks points this year. Like, that's just absolutely bonkers type of numbers. And again, it's so nice to kind of, you've been waiting as Sharks fans and as Erik Karlsson fans, you've been waiting for this moment. And this was just a culmination of everything, and just the joy, as you guys will see later on when Karlsson is on, during Karlsson's interview, his press conference, just how just excited he was just to kind of take it all in and be surrounded and, kind of be meaningful again, right? I mean, the Sharks have been non-existent for the most parts of the past 4 years. The only times that they were mentioned in national media was when bad stuff was happening, like a Vander Kane situation, or Karlsson being hurt, or a whole slew of things. Like, the Sharks have just been ignored for basically the last 4 seasons, and they've had no right to be they've had no right to be part of the spotlight. And it was just nice tonight to kind of, as Sharks fans, to be like, yeah, we were bad this year, but we still have Erik Karlsson, and Erik Karlsson did amazing things. And we're going to talk about Erik Karlsson's future here in a little bit. We may not get to watch Erik Karlsson do amazing things anymore, at least until, but at least we'll have this one season for Sharks fans where you'll be able to say, I saw a defenseman put up 101 points, and he did it on a crap team, and he made Sharks hockey at least entertaining, right? You and I both know the season was a slog to get through, 82 games, but you never knew when the night you turn on the TV and Erik Karlsson's going to do something special, like score a hat trick or put up 5 points in the night, or just deke somebody, to their ankles break, or they lose their jockstrap, or just make an insane pass between his legs. And he gave us something to watch this season, even though this season was a lost season basically from the get-go. And there wasn't a ton of prospects this year to kind of be able to root for and watch until the end of the season. But Karlsson gave us a reason to watch night in and night out on what was a lost season for the Sharks. And we, as Sharks fans, should be thankful for that, because we know this is kind of the beginning steps of the rebuild. And there's going to be a lot of nights and times where the Sharks are going to be almost unwatchable, but having Karlsson, where you just never know when he's going to step on the ice and just decide to be the best player in the world, be able to do that. And that's just something joyous to just remember and think of, as we can eventually move away from, the Erik Karlsson era and move into a hopefully more fun era of Sharks at some point. But at least Erik Karlsson gave us those nights. And you never knew when Karlsson was just going to be feeling it one night. So before we talk about Erik Karlsson's future, and if the Norris Trophy changes it, what do we kind of expect from Erik Karlsson going forward? Do need to take a quick break and talk to you guys about our friends over at Gametime. So if you are looking for tickets for whatever you want to do this offseason, if you want to off season, quote unquote, this summer. If you want to, go to a Giants game, go to an A's game, go to a concert, go to a comedy show, whatever you want to do, Gametime has got you covered, and they make it super easy to buy tickets without the stress. What I really love about them is how easy it is to their website. Just wherever you're searching for, whatever tickets you want to go, event you want to go to, they have images of the seat views, so you know exactly what your seats are going to look like. There's nothing worse than getting tickets. You get there and you realize you have bad seats. They're the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. If you go on there and you buy some tickets and then you realize that's at some point the tickets in the same row and same section are cheaper, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. So you don't have to sweat about that, about buying tickets too early or too late because you missed out. Gametime has got you covered there. So, and buy tickets in a matter of seconds, and they'll send directly to your phone. So you don't have to go digging through that weird email that you use to sign up for stuff. You don't have to go digging through that looking for them. They'll send them directly to your phone. So snag the tickets without the stress. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, so what does this mean for Erik Karlsson's future? And he talked, as you will hear in the press conference, about how excited he is for his future and kind of what's going forward. And there's a lot in the air with Karlsson in his future, and he's talked about pretty openly that I would be open to a trade, and the last thing that's missing from his Hall of Fame resume is that Stanley Cup and having his name etched into the Stanley Cup. And spoiler, the Sharks aren't winning the Stanley Cup next year or the next couple years. They're going to be a rebuilding team. And Karlsson, who's coming off his best season, capped off with this Norris Trophy, he's looking for some other trophy. And I don't know. I honestly, talking to some people, everybody kind of talked to tonight in the media was kind of like, I have no idea what the media, like where he's going, what his trade is going to look like, wide variety. A lot of people are pessimistic about what the Sharks would get back. Some people are optimistic about like, hey, he's still coming off coming off a career season. And he proved when he's healthy, he's still one of the best players in the league. And he just turned 33. I know we talk about he's an older defenseman, but he's still just 33. Like he's still, you're not going to get 100-point Erik Karlsson again, but could Erik Karlsson, I did an episode, I think beginning of the offseason about kind of looking at the Norris or players who were above a point per game. And yes, there's going to be some regression, but I think for Erik Karlsson, he should still be hovering around a point per game, especially if he's just got better teammates around him, right? And he's not having to do everything like he did this season. So for the Sharks, but I still think there's a trade sometime this offseason. And I think the draft makes a lot of sense, but it is a very, very complicated trade, especially when it comes to all the thing, his no movement clause, right? How much salary are the Sharks going to retain? Who has cap space? All that fun stuff. Well, it makes a lot of sense that I could also see this thing dragging on until, beginning of the season or, right before the season starts. And that's when he was traded last time. He was traded, basically a couple weeks before the season started for, when he's traded from Ottawa to San Jose. Granted, nowhere near as complicated of a trade because of the salary retention, and Erik Karlsson was coming off, some of his best performances. But, that's this thing. I wouldn't be holding your breath if I was a Sharks fan right now that you're going to get a trade right away. Again, the draft makes a lot of sense to me personally, especially with everyone there. But don't be surprised if we come out of the draft and the free agency weekend and Erik Karlsson is still a San Jose Shark. So I do think he will get traded at some point. But, there's always the option that, I was kicking this with, this idea of echoing where if they can't find a taker right now, isn't it maybe it's better to wait until the trade deadline? And you hope and pray that Erik Karlsson can stay healthy between now and then and continue to be very productive, which I don't. If he's healthy, I think he'll still be very productive for the Sharks next season. Granted, not a 100-point player, but if Erik Karlsson heading to the trade deadline's got like 50 points or something like that, like that's still a very, very productive season. And then maybe you trade him at the trade deadline and it's like, hey, you're basically getting the salary cap's going to go up next season. We're going to be done with this flat cap era. You get Erik Karlsson for 3 seasons and a playoff run here type of situation. So we shall see what happens with Erik Karlsson going forward. But I think we have seen our last game of Karlsson and Teal, unfortunately. So before we get to the press conference, I do want to kind of give my quick 2 minutes on the NHL Awards show. So I wasn't like in the audience or anything. I'm not as that cool. There was a big media section, so I basically got to kind of almost watch it on TV, and then they had all the players come over after awards, and you would get to kind of listen to their press conferences and ask them questions and stuff like that. But was out there for the red carpet. Really cool experience seeing that and just seeing the players and them signing autographs and kind of interacting with the fans and stuff like that. Nashville, man, like they know how to throw a party, and definitely could feel the party atmosphere. And when guys like when Pekka Arena showed up, just the crowd just went crazy for him, of course, being a local legend for him for Preds fans. But the actual show itself, I didn't get to hear it all again because we were in the media room, but I think the presentation was okay. It was good to see kind of some of the players and kind of some of their speeches. The Bruins coach Montgomery, amazing speech, talking about his battle with alcoholism and his battle with addiction and kind of how he went through that whole process and kind of came out with it and from his support. I think definitely the highlight of the show was his speech there. But for my vantage point and everything like that, it was a cool experience. I'm really glad I got to experience it. Kind of getting to see the players do their interviews and all that stuff was really, really cool, and being kind of in the media room for it. But award shows are tough, man. they're tough to kind of do right, I think, by the most part, and especially athletes just tend to not be the most engaging personalities and stuff like that. So but great experience. Had a lot of fun. Erik Karlsson, as you'll see in the interview that we're going to do here in a second, was enjoying the moment, and it was really, really really fun to kind of just listen to him talk about things. So before we get into Erik Karlsson's press conference and just him talking to the media, do want to let you guys know, of course, about the Locked On NHL mock draft. So we made all of our picks, and host Gil and Hattie broke down every selection over a 3-day mock draft event. You can go check out all 3 shows from last week on the Locked On NHL YouTube channel or wherever you get podcasts.
Who was that?
Huh?
Who was that? You were talking to?
Oh, that was like the San Jose people, like Dan Kuznowski and
Okay.
Ted, I think he's a podcast guy or something.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Well, yesterday was all about you talking about the future. Today can be about your season and what did this season mean to you to have this type of season?
No, I obviously feel very good with where I'm at, both personally and professionally. I think this was a season where I'm going to choose to take all the good parts from it and try and learn from every situation that was thrown at me throughout the year and try and grow from it. I still feel like I had a fantastic year and I felt good the whole way, but I still feel like there's more, and that's what makes me excited moving forward.
When you say more, could there be more points? Is that what you're...
I don't know if it can be more points or not. I just think as a whole, I think that I feel really good about my game. I feel really good about myself right now, and I'm excited to be at the place that I'm at right now. So I'm very much, as much as I try and stay in the moment, it's reflecting back as much as I can at this stage. Gives me a lot of joy, and I think that that's the most important thing that maybe I had been missing for a little bit. It's just enjoying hockey again, because I love to play the sport, and I love what I do, and I think that really showed this year.
Erik, how's this one feel after compared to winning the first two?
Different. I'm a lot older now. I have 2 small kids, and I've gone through a lot in my life that I didn't have when I first won when I was 21. So it means a lot. I think that I can grasp everything around it and appreciate things that come with it a little bit differently than maybe I did when I was 21 and whatever the other one was, 23 or something like that. It was a long time ago. So I'm just very, very joyful right now, I think, and like I said, I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can, but at the same time, I'm probably more excited about the future.
It seems like you were pretty nervous during that speech.
I was. My wife kept asking me the whole time if I was nervous and this and that. I was like, no, it's fine. Kind of know how this works and what to expect, but I think that when the time finally came, I got nervous because it is a different situation and it hits you a little bit differently than you think sometimes. So once I got up there and you start seeing everybody and you're talking, I lost my words pretty fast and had to get out of there.
Just like this, right?
Yeah, a little bit. So it's no, but yes, I think no matter how many times you've done this or been through this, I think that this moment is a very special one, and you can never really prepare your body for how it's going to react when something like this happens. So it was nice to get that feeling again. It's been a while.
Erik, you didn't win the Lindsay Award. What did it mean to be nominated by your peers?
No, it's obviously great. I mean, I voted for Connor. I was kind of expecting him to win. I think that he is in my generation probably the best player that I've seen. So, but just to be in the mentioning for me means a lot. I take a lot of pride and respect in what I do, and to have the guys that you compete against on a daily basis to put your name that high. For me, the stage I'm in my career right now means a lot.
The league announced not going to do the Pride jersey. The Sharks were the Pride jersey last year. I'm just wondering what you feel about that.
I don't know. I haven't even really thought about it, to be honest. So it's a hard question for me to answer. And at the same time, we don't really get a say in the whole matter. So I think that's probably a question for the guys in charge that makes those decisions.
I talked to David Quinn earlier today, and he said the one thing about you is they put so much responsibility on you, and you still have the season that you had. You were able to handle all that. To do that and have the season you had, is that a big part of why you feel the way you do right now, and as you look ahead to what the year, next season and the year, that you were able to handle all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was very fortunate to get drafted by Ottawa, coming to a city and a country where hockey is the biggest thing, and having guys like Daniel Alfredsson and Jason Spezza and Chris Phillips, kind of show the way, and I think that responsibility was something that I was taught fairly early on in my career by a lot of good people, and I think that the stage I'm at now, I think that I've kind of figured out a pretty good way for myself how to deal with it in a positive way, even though it's not easy sometimes. But I love responsibility, and I love high goals, and I love the pressure.
Erik, when you think back to just the injuries you've had to overcome the first several years with San Jose, and then being so healthy this year. Did you ever imagine, even like a year ago, that you'd be here today, that you'd have a season like this?
Yeah, I mean, I was always, in my own eyes, this is where I belong. This is where I should be every single year, even though that's pretty hard to do and hasn't happened, obviously. But I always believed in myself. Obviously, being healthy for a longer period of time has really given me a perspective on how important it is to take care of your body and yourself. Obviously, there's certain things you can't control, and I just think that right now the most important thing is to stay healthy, and obviously that played a major factor into this season.
What do you think under Quinn's system let you have such a huge offensive season compared to previous years?
I mean, again, it's hard to say. I think the entire coaching staff and with my career that came in, I think we got some rejuvenation, and I think that guys really bought into it and enjoyed it. And like I said, it was a tough year for us. We did not win very many games, and when you don't do that, when that's what everybody wants to do, it can easily go one way or another. But the coaching staff and especially my teammates, I think, made it really important that we come to the rink every day and put the work in and enjoy what we're doing, and we did that, and I think that's why a lot of us individually had pretty good years, even though the team success was not at the level that we want, but we're still feeling like we're pulling in the same direction, and it gives us a sense of purpose. So I think that he handled that with his entire staff tremendously throughout the entire year.
Have you heard it from any teammates yet? Rather for a text or anything like that? Let's see.
97.
You think you can catch Lidstrom in Norris Trophy wins here next?
I don't know. That's a pretty tough one, and again, not something that has really ever crossed my mind. Like I said, I'm trying my hardest to enjoy the moment that I'm in. If you start looking too far behind or too far ahead, then time moves even faster. And I've been in the league for 14 years now, and it still feels like it's my second year.
What's a bigger honor, this or the Victoria Prize?
If you ask my dad, it's the Victoria Prize. Yeah. I mean, I haven't gone there and done that thing yet, but that's obviously another thing that means a lot to me, especially being in Sweden, and I don't get to spend as much time there as I would like anymore, but it doesn't mean that it's still my home and the place that I grew up in, and I hold it very dearly. So I'm very much looking forward to going back to Sweden and enjoying that part too.
Excited to meet, or he's excited to meet the royal family?
He is, yes, very excited. I've met them a few times, so I might be a little bit more comfortable than him around them. So, but he is very much looking forward to that, yes.
Maybe a bit of a random question, but as a gifted defenseman, what do you think of a guy in particular in David Pastrnak and his kind of game from what you've been able to see?
Pasta? Again, I think he's a perfect example of a guy that stays in the moment and enjoys what he's doing. I think that I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure that most of his creativity and his style of play comes from just enjoying the game of hockey, which is, like I said, I think very underrated and important thing to have as a player, no matter where you are or how old you are, and I hope he never loses that.
Seems like in any other year he could have been a Rocket Richard winner, a Hart winner.
Yeah,
just one of those years.
I think we can all agree that he definitely has the talent level to be a top player in the league on a daily basis now. And again, I'm sure that same as me, he's excited for his future.
All right. Thanks, Erik.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you guys so much for your, celebrating Erik Karlsson's wonderful season. Hope you enjoyed the press conference. We'll probably have some more of this stuff, so I'm going to try to get some more of the top prospects availability. Going to have you guys for that for next episode. Plus, we'll probably do another mock draft just to kind of see what happens. So as we get into the last days of the draft, or the day before the draft here, also going to have, of course, first round reactions. Going to be in the arena, so you'll get actual reaction from pick 26 and pick number 4. And then a complete breakdown of the first day and a complete breakdown of the second day. And then we got free agency on Saturday. So plenty of content coming to you guys because that's why I'm the content boy. So again, you guys can follow the show along wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. You can also follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, posting a bunch of behind the scenes stuff from my time in Nashville here on the Instagram, the Locked On Sharks Instagram page. So good time to check that out. You can follow me on Twitter at myfryhole. And until tomorrow, bye, friends.